Thank you very much. Welcome to Cats and Dogs here on Press TV with me, Len Topic, where we shine a spotlight on the kind of behaviour that's given the White House a bad name for the last 4 years and beyond. Who needs international diplomacy when you can have international hypocrisy instead? Less boring than being consistent and twice the choice of policy positions. Let's take policies on terror. Last year, one of the richest men in the world, while eating an ice cream, ordered the assassination of a 2-star general. I'm not talking about the work of a drug baron like Pablo Escobar or a gangster like Al Capone. I'm talking about US President Trump, who ordered the assassination of Iran's top general. In reaction to this act of state-sponsored terrorism, all the American allies remained silent for a year. No doubt those who applauded the decision, namely Trump supporters, thought their president was talking about a dangerous gangster group in Texas. I mean, people like the ones who stopped the Biden-Harris bus. I'm serious. These supporters don't seem able to tell the difference between Iran and Iraq. I mean, they do sound the same if you say them quickly with a Big Mac in your mouth. And will these Texan terrorists know an Iranian general as he really was, confronting the US hegemonic presence in the Middle East?
John, I can't talk too much about the nature of the threats, but the American people should know that President Trump's decision to remove Qasem Soleimani from the battlefield saved American lives. There's no doubt about that. He was actively plotting in the region to take actions, a big action as he described it, that would have put dozens, if not hundreds of American lives at risk. We know it was imminent. This was an intelligence-based assessment that drove our decision-making process.
Imagine that. You come from the other side of the world to the Middle East and condemn an Iranian general to death for not letting you interfere in the regional affairs any way you like. I mean, those poor, angry Americans. This assassination sends an odd message. It looks like Uncle Sam is saying to Iran they can't defend themselves against a terrorist mess in the Middle East America largely created. Is that the new rule from Washington? Don't defend what's yours. I guess that means in America, if a burglar breaks into your home, the new advice is not to confront them or call the police. You just help them load up the van so that they can take your things without getting a backache. A bit confusing, that one, when you think about Americans' gun laws. I thought the rule was, hey, Mr. Robber, I know we've told Iran they can't defend themselves, but I hope you'll tolerate the contradiction if I blow your head off. Or maybe that's just how they do their foreign policy. The assassination of Soleimani made Daesh terrorists very happy, even happier than Trump supporters were. That's because they knew Trump had done them a huge favour. Trump had saved this barbaric group from their nemesis. The world should be grateful Trump was not US president during World War II. Otherwise, he'd have killed all those generals fighting Hitler and the Nazis just because they kind of sounded foreign. The tragic point is the way the owners of the social media channels have behaved over the hero in charge of fighting terrorist groups in the Middle East. They removed posts supporting the assassinated general, the one who defeated Daesh in Iraq. They also removed the general's photos. I always thought that the media would publish the photos of the one who was assassinated and that the police would try and bring the assassin to justice. But it seems that things are once again different in the United States. The assassinated person's photos are removed from the social media channels and the assassin can run for president again. Welcome to justice, American style. The fact that gun-toting Trump won't be in the Oval Office for the next 4 years is tragic news if you happen to run Daesh. Trump's defeat in the presidential elections probably caused a week of mourning in terrorist groups across the world. Given the fact he seemed determined to kill the very people who are actually defeating them, Daesh and their friends would have voted for him if Trump hadn't told them all not to use a postal ballot paper. Now it's time to get in the Cats and Dogs time machine to see what it has in store for us this week.
1,000 years ago, European authorities reacted angrily to the worst crime committed in the 21st century. They accused the bad otters of threatening crocodiles to extinction. The European heads of state set up a special task force to identify and arrest those responsible for the insecurity of the world. When the West was sad about violence against crocodiles, every now and then political leaders, nuclear scientists, and ordinary citizens fell victim to terrorist attacks in the Middle East, a region not very important to the world. However, some European officials talked to those responsible very seriously.
Talk a bit more about the assassination of that Iranian general, Soleimani. On the line now, we have Trump's former Defense Secretary, Mark Esper. Mr. Esper, thanks for talking to us here on Cats and Dogs.
It was all a misunderstanding.
What was?
I had told Mr. President time and again that such an overt act of terrorism is not to the benefit of the U.S. But you know, Don, he's not really a listener.
But you had claimed something else, hadn't you?
Yes.
Why?
Well, at that time I was still his defense secretary. He paid me.
Well, your honesty is admirable. Tell us how Trump issued this assassination order.
One day he invited us to his Mar-a-Lago club. He was playing golf. He said that he wanted to do something historic. We gave him a list of things he could do. He didn't like our suggestions.
I see. Can I ask you what you all suggested?
Well, we told him if he could get the golf ball into the hole, it would be historic. We said that if he could post a tweet without factual errors, he would be remembered for that. And we said if he could pronounce the name of the Daesh linchpin back then, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, correctly, he would be remembered for ages. We told him he needn't trigger World War III to be remembered.
And what was his response?
He said he was the greatest president ever, and he didn't need our advice.
What happened next?
He missed the hole.
I don't mean in the golf.
Oh, I see. He called Netanyahu. The rest is history.
Does he get all his peace and reconciliation advice from Netanyahu?
Yes.
Well, that explains a lot. Anything else you want to add?
Oh, yes. After the assassination, he said, "I finally take revenge for the 9/11 attacks." It was then we realized Trump actually thought General Qasem Soleimani has actually backed the attacks.
Well, at least Trump will be remembered for that.
No, he won't. Most people in America and Britain don't understand any of this. And there is nothing funny about that.
No, there isn't.
One more thing. Can I apologize for my part in the Trump administration and this attack?
No. Too late, Mr. Esper. It's just too late. Goodbye. And that's it for this week's show. Join me again to see who's changing their loyalty, who's changing their tune, and when it comes to defining state terrorism by America, who's changing their story. This is Press TV. I'm Len Topic, and that was Cats and Dogs.